In this video, we're going to bring you guys every single mode awakening rank. So in this video, we're going to rank all the mode awakenings. If you guys don't know, those are the modes you could find in the sub ability section of the game. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like, let's go right to the video, guys. Now coming in 28th place is going to be Bat Cursed Spirit. Now the reason why it's going to be in 28th is because it's literally just a much worse Electro Blade. It does have a second mode, believe it or not. It does actually have a second mode that looks like giant hands coming out. It doesn't really look like a bat. The Z spec is quite literally just a worse Electro Blade. It has 0 stun. You do also have a weapon spec that dashes you forward. It's like Van Helsing dash, but a lot worse. So pretty much it's just bad. There's not really anything to say about it. It's just bad, man. Now coming in 27th place is going to be Finite Strength Spirit. Now there actually used to be a glitch with Finite Strength Spirit. If when you use the Z spec on someone, it used to do that damage twice. So it used to do 100k every single Z spec. Obviously that was fixed. It only does 1 proc now, but it isn't the worst thing in the world, but there's a reason why it's going to rank on last. Stats aren't that great, and the Z spec obviously isn't that great anymore. Now coming in 26th place is going to be Santa Platinum Winter. This is actually the worst stando mode in the game because the stats are terrible, the M1s aren't that great, and then you obviously do have a Z spec here. It's basically like a bunch of presents that explode them, but they not get knocked back so far. It literally does nothing. So yeah, it's really bad. It's kind of just a meme mode, but that's okay, right? Meme modes are great. All right, so coming in 25th place is going to be Puppet Platinum Halloween. This is going to be pretty obvious why this actually is in 25th place. There's a voice line there, you know, big honking nose right there with a clown emoji or whatever, but the main reason why it's going to rank this low is because it's mainly honestly an M1 combo extender mode, right? But the tie is extremely low. It's 1,500. That's like literally nothing, not to mention that the Z spec also doesn't really do that much damage, but it is a true M1 combo extender if you do like a stun afterwards, but the cooldown on it is also extremely long. So overall, this mode is actually not that great. The main reason why people use it is just because they don't have an actual Z spec to use. Coming in 24th place is going to be Cobra Stretch Mode. Now you may be thinking, why is it ranked higher than the other ones? The main reason why is the stats are actually decent on this one compared to the other ones that I listed before. Not to mention that, you know, it does look cooler. It actually does more damage overall, but everything about it is kind of very similar. It's very similar to the ones listed before, Puppet Platinum and Santa Platinum, but it actually is a decent mode, all things considered. It's just gonna rank this low because, you know, M1 modes that knock people back aren't the greatest thing in the world. Coming in 23rd place is gonna be Cobra Spirit Awaken. Now the reason why this is gonna be 23rd, it's mainly just a gimmick mode. You could use it for running around and things like that. It's kind of like some of the other Sage modes of the game, but just significantly worse because it doesn't last as long, it doesn't do as much damage, it doesn't give you as much stats. Now coming in 22nd place is going to be Specialist Spirit. This is going to be coming in 22nd place just because the stats are very low in this mode. That kind of makes it terrible. Not to mention that the ranged M1s are actually really easy to get out of, but they actually did buff the Z spec, so it has no end lag to it now, so you can actually combo with it correctly. It used to have so much end lag you could not combo with it whatsoever, so it was buffed, but overall the mode still isn't that great in this game, and I do recommend just using any other mode pretty much. That's why it's going to be ranked 22nd, because you can combo with it, but it's just not that great. Now coming at 21st place is going to be Spider Cursed Spirit. Now I'm sure you guys probably have never seen this. It's a little spider. Look at me crawling around, man. It's very creepy. very creepy. You have a weapon spec, it launches you to them, it does a knockback. I'm sure you guys have seen that with some other abilities in the game. Yes, it is reused, and then you obviously do have a Z spec here. Whenever you click, it uses some of your mode to stun them. It actually is an infinite stun. It uses a ton of your mode, but it actually is an infinite stun, so you can kind of just troll people with this, walk around, infinite stun people, and I'm actually glitched. You obviously also have the buffed M1s here that, you know, not the greatest thing in the world, not the worst thing in the world, but he's yeah, it's kind of a meme mode, but you know, it's okay. Now coming at 20th place is going to be Kagoku Rapid Mode. Now the only reason why it's going to rank this high on the list is because it actually has a very specific encounter with Kagoku. If you use both of them, it not only makes your M1 stronger, as you guys can see with the M1s here, the M1 combo does like it does a ton of damage. It does like 50k damage together, but the main reason why is because when you actually go into the dimensions, your M1s do actually get buffed even more than what they are before. So basically Kagoku mode gets absolutely insanely buffed by the rabbit mode. Not to mention the rabbit mode actually has, oh, he's dead. That's how much damage those M1s do. I just M1 comboed him to death. Not to mention that the Z spec is okay in general, and overall just the mode, it's okay, you know, it's very good. Now coming in 19th place is gonna be Reptile Cursed Spirit. Now the reason why it's gonna rank this high is because the Z spec is super spammy. Also, this is really ugly, but it has a super spammy Z spec, 12-second cooldown, 62,000 damage, and it is actually a ragdoll block break. So every 12 seconds you could do 62,000 damage. That is basically unavoidable, you know, unless they have wide dash, then they go like yoinkers, and then you literally just cannot hit them at all. But it does have a Z spec. It's really hard to hit, but if you hit it, it does lots of damage. Now coming in 18th place is going to be Toad Cursed Spirit. This is going to be mainly because the stats actually become insanely high. All right, so I told him to M1 me, so So when they actually hit you, every time they hit you, you will get 10 stats. It does cap eventually. It's not infinite, so, but that's not the point. The point is that you basically do more damage for every time that you're hit. Not to mention the Z-spec is also very decent. You know, it's not the greatest thing in the world. It does an okay amount of damage, and you know, you don't get anything special from it besides, you know, buffed M1s. But when it comes to Toad Curse, it's mainly meant for the stat boost, or if you just want to be big. Now, coming in 17th place is going to be Heavenly Spirit. Now, the reason why it's going to be ranked this high is because it actually does have multiple modes you can go into. So it does have the first one, and then it has the third one, whatever. You know, you get higher stats the further you get into it. The reason why it's going to rank this high is you can actually use it to combo extend. So as you guys can see, it did that little attack there. It's kind of a dash. It does a ragdoll. You also have a weapon spec which teleports you to them, allows you to M1 combo, and it also teleports you and allows you to M1. But honestly, if I'm going to be honest, the earlier modes are actually better, but you do actually get less stats the earlier on you go on into it. Coming to 60th place is going to be Frog Spirit Awaken. Now, this is going to be because the Z-spec actually does block break, but it's really hard to hit someone with the actual Z-spec of it because it's honestly because of how fast it runs, not to mention that it is also melee, but it is a block break. If you manage to hit it, it's very good, and you actually do get double M1s. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Have you remembered to hit the like button on the video yet? If you haven't already, go ahead and do it. Now, coming to 15th place is going to be Obelisk Fate Spirit. The only reason why it's going to rank this high is because it actually has the second and third mode. I do have the second mode, but I don't have the third one. Obviously, I'm not going to grind all my fates to that much. That's insane. But, you know, Obelisk Fate isn't the greatest thing in the world. I'm going to show you guys what the actual Z-spec is. The Z-spec is going to be a slam attack. You guys are thinking, oh, wow, 56,000 damage. That's great. This move is, like, impossible to hit in any actual scenario, but the second mode and the third mode Z-spec actually does kind of carry all of the Fate Spirits here because it does give you insane stats, and overall, the abilities are actually extremely good. If you guys are wondering, every single Z-spec of the second and third mode are the exact same. Now, coming to 14th place is going to be Ember Fate. It's going to be for the same reason as Obelisk Fate. The second and third mode are almost the exact same. Now, the reason why it's going to rank higher than Obelisk Fate is because the beam is actually easier and better to use for combos and things like that. That's the only reason why it's going to rank higher. Now, coming to 13th place is going to be Haze Fate. It's going to be for the same reason as the other Fates, but Haze Fate does block break. So I'm going to have them hold block here and wish you guys that Haze Fate now actually has a block breaker, which doesn't make it better than the other ones, but you actually have to hit the 2 procs of Haze Fate. So you kind of have to like glitch it out a little bit, but you know, Haze Fate block breaks, so it's better than the other Fates. Coming in 12th place is going to be Captain Jokai. Now, the reason why it's going to be coming in 12th place, it's like having stronger block if you do not have the mentor. If you have the mentor, it doesn't actually carry over. He's going to M1 me. He's going to start hitting me. And as you guys can see, the block is insanely high. You may be thinking, oh, wow, that's a lot of block, but it's quite literally just a little bit more than stronger block. So if you have stronger block, this mode is kind of useless in all honesty, but if you don't have stronger block, it's an insanely good mode, which is why it's going to rank this high, because you could take a lot of stuff before your block being broke. Not to mention, you do have a Z-spec. It's a stun ability. It does stun for a little bit, and then you do have a weapon spec. Everything about it is okay, but the main reason why it's couldn't be because of the actual stronger block. Now, coming in 11th place is going to be Shock Cloak. Now, this may surprise a lot of you guys, but not only are the stats insanely high, in fact, it should be a little higher ranked in this video, I'm not gonna lie, but the Z-spec, you can actually combo extend with it now, so they can't really auto dodge out of it. Not to mention, it does have a second mode, but the second mode is honestly worse than the first. You don't get more stats. The Z-spec is worse. Just use the first mode. Coming in 10th place is going to be Snail Spirit Awaken. Now, the reason why it's actually going to rank this high, it is one of the best, if not the best, team fight mode in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down, and as you guys can see, it actually drains a ton of mode, but if you actually unmode from Snail Stage, I'm pretty sure it doesn't really take that much mode from you, because you actually gain mode while you're obviously taking damage. So I'm going to have him damage me a lot here, and then as you guys can see, literally all my health gets healed instantly. It works on teammates, but it does drain your mode really fast, so I would recommend unmoding if you're actually going to use this in team fights. Coming in 9th place is going to be Akuma Eternal Hand. This is actually one of the most forgotten sub-ability modes of the game, especially for how good it is. So as you guys can see, it only drains 10 a second, but it actually gives you a second life, and it gives you a decent Z-spec. So I'm going to tell him to hit me, so I'm going to use a Z-spec now, and as you guys can see, it does that little trigger. It also is iframes now, so that is quite good, and the Genjutsu does last a long time. So I am going to have him actually, he's going to attack me till I'm dead, otherwise known as killing me, and I'm going to show you guys just how good the actual second life is, because not only is it a second life, but you actually can escape with it, because it is kind of like an iframe move. So it triggers when you're about, I think it's like 10% HP, so when you're literally just about to die, it'll trigger. Watch. So I'm at 7,000, and boom, it triggers, and it's an auto dodge combined with the fact you actually go down and you do regain a lot of health. So this is really good at duels, by the way. It's about as good as Ryuji mode if you do not actually have Ryuji. It's probably the best duel mode in the game, but when it comes to out of duels, it actually is very decent just because of the iframe iframe itself. It's like a heal move for practically no cost. Now, coming in 8th place is going to be shared by Vapor Inner Spirit and Demonic Spirit. Now, the reason why they're going to rank the same is because I don't want people to argue and go, why was Demonic higher? It's not as good. It's not a place lock stun. Or I don't want someone to be like, why wasn't Vapor Inner Spirit higher? It's a place lock stun. Or Demonic Spirit has more stats. Just throw it all out the window. They're in the same place, believe it or not, and that's because they have almost the exact same Z-spec. The only difference is the stats and the fact that one is a place lock and one isn't. So if you guys like place lock stun, go Vapor Inner Spirit. If you don't like the place lock, go Demonic. I'm just gonna go ahead and show you stats of Demonic Spirit so you guys know I'm not capping. The stats are a lot higher. Now, coming in 7th place is gonna be Mastered Frog Spirit. Now, the reason why this is gonna be coming in 7th is because the Z-spec is very annoying, much like one of the ones we'll get onto later in the video. You also have double M1s, but that's not the reason why you want to use this. This Z-spec, look, it's so annoying. Not to mention that the actual Z-spec does have a little burn effect after it that you can't dodge. So if you get hit by it once, you're basically locked into it, and it could step on you. It's very hard to hit the person using it as well, and it does last quite a long time. All right, so coming in 6th place is going to be Dune's Fate. Now, this is going to be because Dune's Fate is a block break, auto tracking, high damage ability. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard that a lot before, but it actually is. Not to mention that the 3rd mode actually does have a web spec that does 93,000 damage almost immediately, which is like it's the first Z-spec, but just more damage, so that's great. Not to mention you do obviously have a click ability. Every single Fate Spirit has this, where you teleport to them, it does block break or whatever, it stuns them, you know. Every Fate Spirit has it, but the main reason why it's going to rank this high is because of that amazing weapon spec. Now, coming into 5th place is going to be Nimbus Fate. Now, I know this isn't known by a lot of people. It wasn't even known by me until it was brought to the attention of the fella in front of us, but it is a block breaker now. The Z-spec is literally just a Dune's Fate now, so if you actually hit them with it, it does more damage to Dune's Fate, and it is a block breaker. And obviously, if you use the 3rd mode of Nimbus, it does even more damage than what you just saw. So it's really good, especially if you have good aim, and especially if you want to grind this to max. Now, coming to 4th place is going to be Demon Gate Spirit. So the reason why this is going to be so high on the list is because it actually is the most versatile mode awakening in the game. It's actually so versatile that I don't know what each and every single one does, and it's hard for me. I know that it actually has really good stuff, like when you hold the Z-spec, when you use the Z-spec, you know, it does stuff like that. You also have one that automatically teleports to them, and it has so much stuff that I forget a lot about it, and I don't have a bad memory. Not to mention, it actually has special interaction with time moves, so you get teleported with M1s. It interacts Ember Entry, some of the barrages and things like that. But yeah, the main reason why it's going to rank this high is because it's super versatile. As you guys can see, I click on them with the Z-spec, it teleports to them, and you can actually M1 combo them. So it has 0 endlac, so you can actually teleport to things like that. You do obviously have even more versatility with all the rest. I don't recommend using the last one. The last one's kind of the only bad mode. The rest of them are actually really good. Now, coming in 3rd place is going to be Worm Spirit Awakened. Now, this wasn't even known by me, but it actually has the same quality as Toad Cursed. So when you get hit by someone, your stats actually go up. This I never paid attention to the stats. This is new, but your stats go up. So that makes this mode even better than what it was before. Not to mention, you actually have a really good Z-spec. It's basically a place lock stun. It's really good for team fights, and you also it's very hard to hit you if you hold block, and then you obviously do have the buffed M1s. It's a really good mode. That's why it's going to rank this high. It's like one of the best team fight modes in the game. Not to mention, your stats get higher the more you get hit, and it actually is very good in general. Now, coming in 2nd is going to be Mastered Rabbit Spirit. Now, this is going to amaze probably a lot of people. Like, why is this high? Not only do you actually get double M1s, which is actually really good for M1 combos, but this Z-spec is actually insane. Not only is it insanely hard to hit you, but you could practically stun lock someone, and it does like it does over 100,000 damage. It's completely unavoidable. Not to mention that the cooldown is extremely low. It is one of the best RPG modes in the game, so that's why you see a lot of the toxic people actually spamming this mode, because it's really hard to hit the person that's on it, and it also does a lot of damage. By the way, guys, what is your favorite mode awakening in the game? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. I'm actually really curious to know. Now, coming in 1st place is going to be Divination Spirit. Now, the main reason why this mode is so good is because of the auto dodge, but there is something else you could do that will make it do a lot of damage. So if you use any place lock stun, such as Blood Third, into the actual Z-spec, it will do actually a lot of damage. I actually messed it up. You want to aim the beam forward, but the main reason why people use this is for the auto dodge. So I told him to combo me. He's going to do his entire moveset on me. Just keep in mind that this is just a sub ability mode. This is a mode awakening that almost you could equip into any kit whatsoever. He's using a one-shot combo on me that is guaranteed to do your full amount of health and damage. Let me just remind you of that. As you guys can see, He's done the entire moveset, and I've barely even taken half my damage with normally an entire one-shot combo. That is absolutely ridiculous. That gives me so many gaps to use abilities. It gives me so many gaps to start comboing him, and it's literally just like 10 million auto dodges in a mode. Now, some people may argue, oh, it takes stamina. My stamina is full. He just did his entire combo with me, on me, and my stamina is full right now. This is absolutely insane, and the only way that Rel actually balanced it even somewhat is by making the mode drain a little bit higher. But even 35 mode drain, this mode is still insane. It's still the best in the game, and people spam it, so I don't think this video is really gonna make even more people spam it. You guys already know how good this is. Anyways, guys, that's here for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button more. Subscribe, guys. Bye bye.